always, cheers, darling.
Cheers.
I don't always drink on the podcast anymore. My first month, I feel like it was champagne every single time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Today's been like a bit of a
day.
It's been half celebration, but also just half like, I need this.
Yeah, totally. I do. Sometimes you just need it to get through. Just a bit of buzz.
Yum. Oh, it's very frothy. I haven't had I've had in a while. So you designed all of this. I want to start off saying
I did.
we actually, I mean, we did reconnect over death.
Mm-hmm. Classic.
Lol, dark humor and death. But God, fuck, when did we meet? I know I was like early 20s. Because you were friends with Cam initially, weren't you? Or you knew Cam?
Oh, I don't think that's how we met, though.
Was that the Duke?
Yeah, I think maybe an old friend of mine, I think, knew you, and it was just in the Duke beer garden. I think it was like Hannah and
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, that old crowd.
Yeah.
Because I feel like, but you, and did you do uni with Cam? Was there something with Cam?
I worked with him at Woodville Bowling.
That's right. So yeah, I feel like when I was with that crew at the Duke, actually this is really funny. I never mentioned the Duke ever, but my last podcast guest brought tequila because that was his brother's drink.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, when did you last have it? I'm like, I swear at the Duke, like 12 years ago, and told the story how I worked there. So that's actually quite funny.
Oh my God, did you work there?
Yeah.
Oh.
Briefly.
That's so funny.
I was going there probably when I would have met you.
Yeah.
And then I reckon I worked there for like 4 or 5 months. I'd left Luke and I just wanted a job with like young people.
Yeah.
Because I've been with him for 9 years. I didn't have friends.
Yeah.
I was quite under the thumb. So I'm going to get a bartending job. And like, you know what? It was fun. It was great. I said, oh my God, never employ me. I stole so much alcohol. Like if you were my friend and you came in, I'd be like, yeah, here's like the $20 shot for like $5. And then myself, because oh my God, working till 6 a.m. What was that song that was like peak Summer Vici song?
Levels?
Probably.
Yeah.
And they would just play it like every fucking 40 minutes.
Yeah.
I remember just drinking on the job just to get through the close. Like I would have cost.
Employability through the roof.
Yeah, don't. Working for myself, fine, because I don't like hurt my own business.
Yeah.
But I'm like, oh my God, Coca-Cola. I gained so much weight at Coca-Cola. I used to eat all the cakes.
Oh my God.
If it was damaged, you couldn't sell it. I'd be like, oops, someone stuck their finger in it.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, don't employ me. But yeah, that era, the Duke, was when I met you. And then I think then you came for Lashes for a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit later.
Mm-hmm.
Then I didn't see you again for a while. And I think that's when your stepdad in that COVID period.
Yeah.
Which we'll get into.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's been not ups and downs, but just like ebbs and flows.
Yeah.
Connecting and reconnecting, but that's like life.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Because you very kindly reached out to me and checked in on me a bit when my mum obviously was
of course
in hospice and when she passed. And then I remember just, because obviously I'm quite random, I just called you out of the blue because I remembered your like work and study history. I mean, I know you're very like artsy and creative. I've seen you like build things. I know you did like design. Is that what's it called? Not furniture design.
At uni now?
Yeah.
Industrial design.
That's the one. I like furniture. And I knew that you did that kind of thing. So I was like, hey, I want to do a podcast. And I know that you did lighting and movies and shit and you can like build things. Can you come like
I was like, sure. Sounds great.
I know. Googling how to upholster a bed head.
We got it done though.
No, 100%. But it was like a real out of the blue, like, hey.
Yeah. And I feel like that like really did bring us back together at the right time though. Like it's been a while since I've had the space in my life to talk about anything to do with grief.
Yeah.
I feel like so it just felt very fitting that we would reconnect in that way.
100%. I think, like you said, with the ebbs and flows, I feel like life definitely brings who you need when you need them.
Mm-hmm.
And in our case, reconnecting.
100%.
Because I reckon we spoke for like an hour after the podcast sort of set up conversation and like.
Yeah. Totally.
Because yeah, your stepdad was 3 years ago.
I think it's more than that now.
When was COVID?
2020.
Oh, geez, it's 2025.
Yeah. I am not great with like keeping track of the years. Yeah. I feel like I don't know, it's almost easier for me to just let the time all blur into one big.
I think it's a trauma thing as well. I feel very not space cadet-y, but my length of time measurement it's warped
Yeah.
for sure.
And I feel like if I think about it being 5 years, and that's 5 years I have to process him having been gone for, which I don't want to do.
Yes. I think about future things, future goals, future this, future that, and I'm like, oh, mum will have been gone for 2 years by then, and mum will have been gone for this. Like everything, I think when you've lost someone that you love so much that you would have shared things with,
Yeah.
there's always that little like, yeah, it's a measurement of time, and it's
Yeah.
because that, yeah, sorry, go on.
It's just a bit too hard to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I feel so sorry for you that happened during COVID, because I know you also had so many kind of red tape.
There were a lot more restrictions on, I mean, the whole thing was really just like, I could never have dreamed up that situation happening, and then the COVID layer on top was just wild. That was when you couldn't drive around without potentially being pulled over by the cops to see where you were going.
Yeah.
And you weren't meant to be anywhere that you weren't meant to be. And when he passed away, he wasn't allowed to have more than 2 people there. So I have 2 stepbrothers, and he had a partner at the time.
Yeah.
So that really,
that's awful,
cut into the time I was able to be with him, which I have no resentment towards anyone, in my circle
just
about.
the government.
Yeah, it just was like, it just was hard. I mean, we were grateful that he managed to have a week and a bit at home. So he had at-home hospice care.
Yeah.
To just sort of be as comfortable as he could be in that way. But very quickly, I think everyone realized he needed that 24/7 attention. Yeah. But for context, it was 4 weeks from when we found out to when he died.
I was about to say, like,
yeah. What the fuck? He went to hospital with a lump, and he was like, it's not sounding good. And then the next day he called me and he was like, I have stage 4 cancer. And there was like no signs before that. So yeah, the whole thing was like a nightmare. Just like I was literally in a bad dream.
That's exactly how I would describe mums as well. Even though she was terminal for years, and we knew obviously at some point it was coming.
Yeah.
It was only 3 weeks into hospital that it was like, okay, she's not going home.
Yeah.
So it's just, I reflect like a nightmare. That whole time is just, I don't even know how I slept. Like it was just.
There was no sleep. There was only like
exhaustion
and then bad feelings while you sleep. Like I don't think I woke up rested. It just was like fear in my body the entire time. You only sleep because you physically have to. There was no switching off. There was no, like, how do you get through a day knowing that that's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know I'm already like, I'm going to sob.
I know. I can't imagine only having a month.
Yeah. There was no time to like do anything.
Do we get some tissue?
Maybe.
Give me a sec. Hang on. Got some extra under there for us as well. No, it's so okay. Oh, now I'm out of breath.
Oh my God.
No, I think about that kind of scenario because the things that I had the time to do with my mum were gut-wrenching and hard and all these things. But then there's also certain people like yourself, or they'll be in my comments being like, we didn't get time to do anything. And I'm like, oh, what I did was really hard.
And what you did was
but
amazing.
Thank fuck.
Yeah. And it can be hard to face up to that kind of situation as well. Like, I mean, I'm lucky enough to still have my grandpa, who actually, I was raised by my grandparents. So in a way, he's like a parent to me. And it's a very different experience knowing that, like, I can go over there every week and talk to him all the time. And
photo of your grandpa the other day was so cute.
He's
in
so
the garden.
Cute. He's so cute. He was telling me all the fruits that they're growing.
Oh, stop it.
I know. But there's like I so wish that, the only things that I had with Aaron, my stepdad, was like trying to make a few last meals that he would want to eat. But even then the medication was like,
I can't.
He, it was like a bite of this but I'll never forget him you know, like I took him up a piece of cheesecake that we'd made at the bakery, and he was like, it just like made his, like, it so minor, but it was like all that we could do. And there was no, yeah, I don't know, it just was like very joyless. Not that there's going to be joy in that kind of situation, but there was just fear.
Yeah.
It was just like this snowball.
There's no time to prepare.
No.
Like,
and he just felt so bad. Like, he felt so guilty about doing that to us. And I was just like, how do you?
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
I knew I would cry.
No. I took one of Jesse's Dexies, so my eyes are completely dry, but I will cry at some point. They will come.
Maybe I should have as
He's
well.
like, stop stealing my medication. I'm like, yeah, but like I don't cry. Like,
it's good. It stops everything. Oh my God.
No, I know. It's
This will help.
Yes.
Actually, will it? I don't know. Maybe it'll
Well,
make me
do
more
you know what?
emotional.
We'll find out. It was like heartbroken in hospice with Mum, with her worrying about me. And it's like when they're all like hooked up and everything, and she's just like, you know, I would cut her off when she was worried about me. I'm like, Mum, that's like, you're not going to be here. Don't worry about it. Do you know what I mean? I'm all good. Like, I'm all sorted. Or she's like, what are you going to do about this? And what she's like, Mum, that's my thing to deal with right now. It's, you know, your time. And like, I'll handle it all. But internally, I'm just like,
I'm not okay.
No, I would hold it together in front of her, and then I would like go into the toilet of the room and just like literally scream like in a horror movie, silently, red in the face, cry, sort it out, come back out and be, I mean, I don't have kids, but it's like the closest thing to being a parent I can imagine, where you're just like, I have to be strong for this other person and I have to take care of them. And Mum seeing me lose it would only make her more upset and more scared to leave me.
And what's there to be done in that? Like, you can't, I feel like at that point you just have to make their exit as peaceful as possible.
Yeah.
And it's like, how are you meant to hold that together? You know, there's just this like immeasurable strength that comes from somewhere that you never knew you had.
Yep. I can relate.
Oh.
I felt like a mum in the sense of I was just at Mum's beck and call.
Yeah.
And like, it was like from what I hear, when you have like a newborn baby, like the minute she's awake, I'm with her. She's asleep, I'll have my nap. Like, and I was so focused on giving her the best exit possible and doing everything for her that sometimes, like, if I had to step out with the nurses did something, and I'm like in the corridor, I just sit there and be like, I'm in a hospice. My mom's dying. Like, I'm in a bad movie. Like, this can't be.
How is it real?
What do you mean?
How is it real?
And you see, like I've seen on Instagram, people I know go through something similar before I'd been through it. And I could never have fathomed how it feels.
Yeah.
And when it's your world and it's your person and it's common. Like in the hospices, I'm looking around and like, there's 20 rooms here.
Yeah.
Every family in this building.
We're all in this together.
We're all in this. And it's like awful, but I'd see people leave, as in their person's gone.
Yeah.
Be another person in there. There's another family. And I'm like, how is this? I mean, it's as common as birth. We just don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Like, how are so many, like, is everyone fucking okay? Like, I think
that there's, you know, and I'm sure that you have covered this before as well, but, you know, in Western society, we have a really big disconnect in our relationship to death.
Yeah.
I think, and because, you know, it's guaranteed, it's so, it's like the most normal thing that there is in life. I mean, how it happens to us is different, but it's guaranteed that it will happen. But I feel like it's not until it actually directly happens to you that you become aware of the experience.
Yeah.
You know, like in other cultures, it's a much more well understood part of culture and a part of life. And I think that the only way that I managed to get through that shock of it happening so quickly was having dealt already with my dad dying when I was 8, literally, like it happened overnight. Like there was no illness. He overdosed. So that was like feeling that shock kind of prepared me for this. It just, I don't know, but death is just like, I don't know, it's so normal, but so fucked up.
Yes. And like you said, because people just don't talk about it, we just have no.
Yeah. It's just, yeah. I don't know. It's crazy to think that everyone is experiencing it, but it's not this sort of normal part of life in the way that we know how to deal with it.
Well, that's it. We have no idea how to navigate. I could have never fathomed how awful it could be. I obviously was always dreading the day, and I was so scared and I was so sad, but it's like I thought it would be harder. I thought the big moments would be like the main ones and be really hard, but I'm like, it's not. It's like 100 times a day.
Yeah.
It is all the little moments. It's a random Tuesday. It is, and even the good, happy things, you have that like, oh, but I can't tell you. Oh, but I can't. Because I never lost anyone close to me.
Yeah.
And I just was like, how can a person just not be here? Like last night, all of the New Zealand memories were coming up, and I'm looking at these videos of mom. Here we go. Now I'm going to go. There's videos of mom, and I'm just like, you are like a person.
Yeah.
Like, and you're just not here. Like, you're literally gone.
Yeah. Like, why can't you just still be here?
Like, I can't talk to you. I can't hear your voice.
And like, nothing will ever be the same. It can't ever be like it was.
Nah. And like, both of us.
This is two water sign girlies on a podcast together talking about dead parents. It was never gonna get through without.
No, God, no. No.
Oh my God.
Nah, the Dexy's not Dexy. No. But like, I remember as well packing up mum's house.
Yeah.
And like selling her car. And I'm just like, you just, like, if I drop dead tomorrow, like,
yeah,
this is all this stuff.
It's
like, it until you've lost someone, it's like, you can't fathom a person just not, a whole life. A whole life is just gone.
It leaves you with a lot of, it left me with a lot of existential questions and a complete reframe on the way that I see life and how I should live it.
Yes.
As well. And
yeah.
In some ways, I'm grateful for that. I mean, I don't know if it's maturity or if it's just being forced into this situation.
Yeah.
But, you know, I feel like I see life in a very different way and truly not taking things for granted and not taking people for granted. And my priorities are very different.
Yeah.
But it just fucking sucks to have to.
It's a shitty lesson to learn.
Yeah.
I literally was saying this to Brandon before. I like who I am more because of this situation.
Yeah.
I like the things that I prioritize. And like, you know, my measure of success used to be like money and Chanel and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's to tell you, oh, I got to finish work at 11 and I had a whole day with my friends, or I had a big walk with Jessie. And it's like my work-life balance and what is important to me. And it's time with people. It's time with the right people.
Yeah. It sounds cliche, but you realize what makes you truly rich in life.
100%, 100,000%. And it's, I was saying to Brandon, I miss being that ignorant bitch who didn't know any better.
Yeah.
I prefer who I am now, but I'm like, oh, I'm grateful for it, but I'd rather not be it.
Yeah. I think having gone through it so early in life, I kind of went through schooling as with that life experience, which made me feel very isolated.
I was going to say not many people have lost someone that young. Was there anyone in your school?
I mean, maybe, but not that I remember.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might have been compounded with the undiagnosed, neurodivergence as well. That's a whole other discussion. But I just remember, like, after my dad died, I didn't speak. I think I went completely mute from memory for like 6 to 8 weeks. I just was like silent. The shock was too much. And then going back to school to try and navigate this whole new world with
going back to normal life
with other kids who have just had a normal school holidays or whatever, and then carrying that all through primary and high school. I just was like, how do you, like, it completely different,
Yeah.
I don't know how to just had that sense of normalcy and that childhood whimsy taken away.
I can't imagine being that young. Like, because I feel like now, like, I've lost an innocence that I didn't know I had, whereas, bitch, you lost yours at fucking 8. Like,
yeah. yeah, it just kind of gives you this sort of, I think at the time it almost felt like I had this baggage, or not,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like a dirty secret or anything, but it's just kind of this, like, it always just feels
It's a
heavy.
weight to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just made me feel like I just could never be normal, and I couldn't be light. And I also would always feel guilty about enjoying things because it felt like I wasn't remembering my dad in every moment.
Yeah.
And like looking back at it now, I'm like, oh my God, bitch, you were 9. Like,
You were 9.
it's okay. You can have some whimsy. But,
Yeah.
at the time, your world has just been crushed and you don't have the capacity to deal with that. And now I don't know what I would do if, my stepson had, I don't know how I would help him through that.
Yeah.
So I'm not surprised that the adults in my life weren't 100% equipped to know how to help me, because I don't know how to help.
It's funny how when we're obviously 9, you see parents, well, I'm speaking for myself, but like, oh, bug, can you see parents and adults as these, like, they know everything, they've
Yeah.
got it all figured out. They could, like, they would never make a mistake. And that, do you know what I mean?
They've got it.
Yeah. But like, look at us.
Oh my God.
Like,
I think I had that moment after my dad died. So, a little bit of context. My dad and my mum were divorced, but both had been drug users throughout their life. And we had been living, my dad and I living with my grandparents. And he had a relapse, and that's when he overdosed. But I kind of went on this, not spiral, but I stopped speaking, and obviously just kind of really regressed after that happened. And I sort of thought my grandparents could just hold all of that, and that was, they'd be fine. And my nan had a breakdown and she was
that's her
sobbing.
son.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
she's losing it, and she's also not knowing how to deal with me. And I think I had that moment of being like, okay, like adults also don't know how to deal with this.
Yeah.
This is also not something, not, you don't just reach a certain age and you become equipped to understand death and grief.
Yeah. And everyone's just doing the best they can with, like, literally the tools that they have.
Yeah.
One of my Instagram followers replied to one of my podcast stories, and she just said, like, when she was a teenager, they lost their grandma, and she was obviously absolutely brokenhearted, had her own little breakdown, and just, locked herself in her room and was just a certain way for quite a while. And she literally said watching my podcast made her realize, wait, I lost my grandma, but my mum lost her mum.
Yeah.
And she never once, and that's the thing with kids, like you don't think at that age, you don't have that awareness. But it's like, she's like, so my mum lost her mum and was holding it so strong and looking after me. You don't, when you're a kid, like, you don't think about that.
Yeah. I completely, I mean, I don't think anyone holds any, anger towards me for it, but I
Oh, of
completely
course not.
centered
You were
my
9.
own, yeah,
You were 8.
like, yeah, 8 into, I think, some, like, yeah, anyway, but I completely just, it became all about me in that scenario. And
Yeah.
now looking back, I'm like, my uncles lost their brother, my
Yeah.
grandparents lost their son. It just was this whole much bigger mess than I realized. And now having the perspective of being in my mid to late 20s when I lost my stepdad, I'm like, oh, there's insurance, there's houses to pack up, there's
Oh.
there's funerals to pay for, there's people to contact, there's just like, it's so fucking rude of companies and
Yep.
places to demand things of you while you're like,
Yep.
it makes sense, but I just couldn't believe it.
I
It's like,
know.
what do you mean we have to immediately get onto this paperwork?
That's what I had, because mum had a rental as well. She didn't own it or anything. So it was kind of like, they were lovely, but you still get 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, like, you're going into somebody's house, and it's like the thing that broke my heart the most is, obviously, again, mum was terminal, but like, she didn't think she wasn't coming home. Her food's in the fridge.
Yeah.
Like, that was,
Do you want to talk any more about that? Like how, like what that thought process was when she went in for the last time?
yeah, it's just, I still had this hope Or I was telling myself, because do you know what? Every other time I had been like, this could be the end, like blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, no, because she's always come home. And I'm trauma response, but I'm pretty good at compartmentalizing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hopefully not in a too unhealthy way, but I can sort of pocket things.
Totally.
I still deal with them.
Yeah.
But if I can't do anything about it right now,
Yeah.
I
You can't just keep dwelling on it.
No.
But, you know, that's also not healthy.
no, I try my best to still deal with things, but allow myself space and room to breathe and whatever. So I was like, obviously it was a thought in my head, like, but I was like, no, I'm not going there because she's always come home. I'm not going to spend all this time being stressed and going down there when that might not happen. And so I was just like, almost in a day, it's like in a nightmare, just going to hospital every day, just being there. And she was also just so sure she was coming home. All she wanted to do was be able to get off oxygen, and that would mean that she could start going home.
Yeah.
But like you said with your stepdad, we wanted to get her home, but then we're realizing
It's not viable.
she needs the care.
Yeah.
And for me, it's when my mum, she asked to go to hospice. So for my mum to ask to go to hospice was huge. And it was her being like, she's too scared to go home because she can't. I would have moved in. I would have done anything she needed, but
Yeah.
it would have been
I feel like
a lot.
maybe, I mean, I can't speak for Susan, but they also maybe don't want to put that on us
Yeah.
and allow the people who are trained to do it.
Yeah.
To do it. And I feel like maybe that allows them to keep a sense of autonomy in a way. Because
Yeah.
then, I mean, her relationship with you was like, it wasn't not burdened. I'm not saying that it would have been a burden, but like you could be there emotionally.
Well, that's what they said to me. It's like, let us take care of the literal nursing side.
Yeah.
And then I can be the daughter.
Mm-hmm.
I just, even now, I'm like, what do you mean? I've got a podcast on death and it's because she's gone. Like, it's just.
Your life has just flipped upside down so quickly. But, I mean, how much you are holding on to and honoring her memory is such a testament to the relationship that you had. Like, she will never be forgotten.
I'll make sure of that. It's.
Oh, my gosh.
And you'll understand, I have such a double feeling of like, I'm so grateful and honored to be able to do so many things. Like, and she would love the fundraiser. Like, she would be so proud of me for doing it.
She would.
And so I'm doing all these things that make me feel like I'm doing something and it's for her and whatever. Then I'm just like, it's because she died. I'm only doing any of this because she's not here.
And then you just want to tell her. Like,
I know.
I still, driving home, want to call Aaron. Like, you know, what is it? Maybe I need to check the year, but like 5 years
later. 2025.
I'm like, I still like get in my car after uni and want to be like, just call him to say I had a bad day or and
or
again,
a good day.
Yeah,
It's
whatever.
Yeah.
Or just be like, oh my God, I did this. And again, for a little bit of context, because I didn't mention it at the start, he's been in my life since I was 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So my parents divorced when I was really young and my mum met Aaron and he was the reason that she was clean for my like teenage years.
Yeah.
And then
that's beautiful.
Yeah, they split up. I think I was 19 or 20 and he stayed as my dad because, you know, my dad had died when I was 8, so I had Aaron. He taught me how to drive. He like was all of these things.
He was your dad.
Yeah.
You have 2 dads.
And they both died. Fuck's sake.
No, stop. Stop.
Oh, you have to laugh, right? Like,
if you don't laugh, you'll kill yourself.
Literally.
That's what I like to say.
I always say that.
I know.
Oh, dear.
I hate to say it, but is that Lush Daddy?
Yeah.
That's not budging.
Oh my God, it's so good. I'm not even joking. I've cried so much this week and it's just been like,
I know.
I'm not moving.
It doesn't even go clumpy either. It's literally
the best thing ever. I mean, just a little product promo, but for real.
I know. I brought the mascara out before Mum died.
Yeah.
I knew it was waterproof, but I never truly could have. Like, I literally created my own product based on how much I was going to be bawling my eyes out.
Oh my gosh. These are your real lashes now?
Yeah.
They look incredible.
I know. This one got a bit fucked up with that. Anyway, so I took my extensions off because I was crying so much. So then I had this big cry. Because when I used to cry with lashes, you got to kind of dab here and dab here, and you can't just, And so because my lashes were off, I'm like, cool, I can just rub and bawl my eyes and wipe them and do whatever.
That's a need.
I got an infection.
Oh.
And I was just like, can I have a motherfucking break?
Oh,
so my eye blew up for 2 weeks. I've still got a little lump.
Oh yeah, I can see it.
Yes. So these lashes are stunning.
Yeah.
These ones have gone a little bit.
Still looks good. There's just a little lump.
Thank you. But yeah, I was like, the irony. The irony.
The timing is unreal.
I look like, Will Smith when he has the shellfish allergy and his whole eye. I can't.
Girl.
I can't. But they both had to die. And that's like when I talk about how amazing my mum was. And I'm just like, and she had to die.
Yeah.
Like, I don't wish it on anybody. I'm not saying that. But it's kind of just like, it is always the good ones. Like,
There was no need. There was, I mean, I have mixed feelings about my dad's death and my mum and dad's kind of like life journey in general, because I feel like, active hard drug use is a whole different kettle of fish to someone developing cancer. There's a level of choice involved there to relapse, which is, I mean, I don't even want to speak on it too much because I have very sort of confusing feelings about it. But I just am sort of like, okay, so I got not a replacement, but I got a father figure. Amazing. And now you're fucking kidding me. Like, that had to happen. I'm grateful for the years that I got, and I'm grateful to have at least had Aaron as a teenager.
Of course.
And during those really formative times. And that was a really beautiful, I think, home that he created for me and my mum.
Is it better to have loved and lost than not loved at all? Blah, blah, blah.
I think yes, but I'm not sure. The jury's not out yet because your heart rips in two.
I know.
It's just...
what is it? Grief is literally a measure of the love that you had. And I would never, ever want to not have what I had with Mum. But for fuck's sake. Like, I could have never anticipated it being this shit.
It's so shit.
It's so shit. And it's just...
It becomes like the lens for your whole life. Everything is framed through this like grief framework. Everything is like, oh, well, we did that together, or like, it's just that nothing can be normal or chill ever again.
No. And it's, before I went through this, not that I ever thought too far ahead about it, because I tried not to, because I can't change it, so I'll focus on what I can do and what I've got left with Mum. But it's like, maybe I assumed wrongly there'd be a really hard time, and then I kind of pop out, don't know when, how I was before.
Yeah.
And I could not have been more wrong, but I had nothing to base my, thoughts on. Yeah. It's literally life 2.0, and you were never going to be the person that you were. And it's like, you've lost an innocence you never knew you had. Life is never going to go back to that.
Yeah.
And like we said, there are lessons we've learned. Life, perspectives, balance, blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, like, it's just so heavy. And I get people commenting like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, still cry for my mom. And I'm like, great. Like,
yeah, you're like, cool. It's actually never going to get... Look, it gets a little bit easier to carry, maybe just because you get used to it.
Yeah.
Which is like...
Also sad.
And there's definitely something to be said for having, the right people around you to help you carry it. I can't imagine having gone through this as an adult without a supportive partner,
Yeah.
and not everyone has that. So I'm very aware that I'm very lucky,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm sure that you feel the same.
Loved him.
Yeah, loved him. Love Jesse.
Yes.
Love you guys.
Thank fuck. Don't leave us.
Holding it together. Thank you
I'll
very
go to
much.
Switzerland.
But
yeah, it's not lost on me how, like, Jessie came into my life as mum was diagnosed terminal, basically.
yeah.
And I'm just like, don't know what I would have done without him if I was in my old relationship or my old friendship groups.
Yeah. It's
it,
there's a lot to be carried. There's a lot to be, you know, it takes a village isn't just applicable for when people have babies. I think it's really important to acknowledge that all life events require that kind of community support
yeah,
and to help you hold things together when it's just too much for one person to do. We were never meant to live that way where one person has to carry so much.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It's not normally lost for words, but it's just, I'm very lucky with Jessie and my friends because I'm like, if I had even a smidge less, I honestly don't know how I would be here. And so, yeah, we are so lucky to have such incredible partners. But yeah, it makes me think like anyone doing it with less, I'm like, are you okay? Because I'm not okay.
Yeah, I think that that's where that real, you know, I'm just kind of hypothesizing, but I'm guessing more gets pushed down because there's less room for those people without the support networks to let it out because sometimes it is ugly. And
so ugly.
It's so ugly, and it's, you know, it can be damaging to relationships if people aren't there ready to feel it or, you know, I can't say that I've, you know, lost anyone over it, but I've definitely been not the best version of myself. Maybe my whole life because of it.
Since you were 8.
Since I was 8, even younger, since my sister died when I was like 3. No, I don't really remember that one, but it did create a sense of loss very early. Oh,
are you okay?
My whole life has just been one trauma after another. But yeah, I mean, and it can get hard to keep asking for understanding from people. I mean, like, I'm not okay, but I don't know when I will be okay.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I want to be positive for other people too. And, you know, my whole life, people have been like, you're so resilient and you've gotten over this so well. And I'm like, there's no other option.
It's that I'll kill myself.
Yeah. Or isolate myself completely. Like, if I choose to not be resilient, what are my options?
Yeah.
I just have to.
It's like I'm not strong. I have no choice.
Yeah. Like, I still want to live a good life that, you know, I can enjoy sometimes. And that just means that.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. I mean, just being honest.
No, I know.
No, I mean, no, like, it's so hard. I feel like there's this like really conflicting. You can be so aware of the beautiful life and the things that you have, like my family and the, you know, just our general home base and my friends, all my animals, and actually, I mean, I'll just mention this.
Yes, please.
But we adopted Dee Dee, and that was, I think, 3 or 4 months after Aaron died. So I just feel like, and maybe this is my, you know, hippy dippy spiritual self believing this, but I needed him to come into my life.
Yes.
I needed something to soak up all of the, just, he filled a hole. It couldn't do everything.
I know. I need a cat, Allie.
I
need a cat so bad.
So bad.
The only thing stopping me has been that Europe is 3 weeks today, by the way. Because, so if anyone doesn't know, obviously Mum being from England and I promised to take her ashes back and she made me promise I would have she said 6 weeks, Jessie said 4. We compromised on 5.
Perfect.
Because Mum wanted me to have a proper break. Yeah. And she also wanted me to, because part of my inheritance is for this trip.
Yeah.
And she wanted me to have a proper break after everything we've been through. Because normally I'm in and out with Europe for 2 weeks. I'm back for clients. And my life has always been so go, go, go.
Fast paced.
Because I've also been like caring for Mum for the final years.
Yeah.
And so it's like working like more than full time, looking after mum happily with honor,
Yeah.
being there for mum and doing Jessie and Jim and friends. And like I've been so
just keeping your life running.
back to back for years.
Yeah.
And I find now that mum's gone, I would give anything to have her back. But I acknowledge that I'm like, it's like 25, 30 hours freed up in my week.
Yeah.
That feels sad. Like, because I used to be like, even today I had breakfast with Lee and some friends. And normally if I'm at breakfast, I'm like, okay, cool. Right, I'll go see mum now because I'm going to do meal prep later. I'm going to go this.
Everything is.
Yeah. Whereas I'm at breakfast, I'm like, got
Yeah.
hours to kill.
Yeah.
I won't say it's relaxing yet because I'm still very grief stricken, but I notice the free time, but that also acknowledges the absences because she's not here.
Yeah.
But
it's crazy how much. I mean, I had it on a very much more compact.
yeah,
You know, it was a month, but it was go to work and immediately, not even go home, go straight from work to either the hospital or Aaron's house.
Yeah.
And care for him until 11 p.m., come home, sleep, and then do it again. You know, there's no time for anything but the essentials. There's no time to figure out how to enjoy anything outside of that. But of course, you would never trade it.
Of course not. I remember a beautiful client of mine, her father had passed. And when there were moments that, without trying to complain, I was a bit overtired and trying to fit it all in, I always went back to her. I'm going to hiccup. Always went back to her words because she was like, when they're gone, you will give anything to be stressed out trying to make it all work. And oh my God, I keep hiccuping. I definitely drew on that a lot whenever I was run down.
Yeah.
And bless Jessie, obviously, like, I mean, he looked after mum so well as well, but he always obviously had my best interests at heart. And like, no, like, just don't go in tonight. It's before hospice. We still thought she was coming home. I was like, nah, because it's like, you were not the most, like, I'm not the most important person right now. And it's like, I would rather be exhausted and fucked and tired, but knowing I've done everything that I can.
Yeah, you need to have that at the end. I mean, you're not going to have them, so at least, I just feel like to honor.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this very well. It's just like the most important thing.
Yeah.
Because you'll hold on to those memories for life.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And like those weeks in hospital, I was going 2 weeks between washing my hair. Like I just remember it being like, have you ever like smelt your own hair? I had not had that before. I was like a little weekly blow dry girl and my hair's quite dry. I remember being in hospital being like I can literally smell oil in my hair. And it was just like, it all snapped as well. I had such like hair breakage after that. But it was just like everything else was just, didn't matter.
Yeah.
And for the first time, like Jesse had my work phone. He was moving clients. Like I just didn't look at it.
Oh my God, bless him.
Again.
Love you, Jesse.
If I did not have that man.
Seriously.
No. And it's, you're only as strong as your support network.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
But then there's been some dark days. Not sure if I should mention, but like whatever in the spirit of honesty.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's been days where I'm like, almost wish I had less because I feel like I have just enough to live for.
Yeah, no,
I have so much to live for. But there's some days where I'm like, I'm tired.
It's a lot to be keeping together to keep all of it running. And when it's when it's good and when it's something that is worth being here for, like I'm so glad that you do, but I understand the feeling.
Yeah. And I'd never understood that feeling before this.
Yeah.
I thought I did in 2021 when I was like a very unhappy person. But it was like a fleeting thought here and there and just like sadness, but like this is different.
Yeah.
And it's like, I know I can acknowledge I'm in the toughest spot.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like I am better than I was 2 months ago.
Yeah.
But there'll be dips and I'll go low, like whatever.
100%.
But like I know that, you and I are gonna have like a bloody mimosa and it's gonna be 2 years down the track. And I'm like, oh, thank God I pushed through. And, obviously I miss mom and it's awful, but it won't be as heavy. And I know there's so many achievements and so many good things that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I would never leave Jessie. But I'm also, there's been a month ago, I had a really bad month for like a month straight. And I was like, oh, if I didn't have Jesse, like, I could just go.
Because it really does, you know, when I picture it, I picture like my world being shattered into two.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to piece together the rest of it. And when there's like, you know, other people to consider, it would be easier to just pick up and leave.
Yeah.
It totally would.
Yeah.
And it just is like, there's a lot of strength that comes, I think, to choose a positive way forward.
Yeah.
And also to not just decide to be a cunt forever.
Yeah.
That is a choice. Well, that is a choice that I have to keep making.
Oh, I'm sick of it. I'm fucking sick of it.
I want to be nasty. No, I don't. I really don't. Don't care.
Watch out, TikTok. But yeah, I never understood how exhausting it is literally to choose to be here.
Yeah.
Every fucking day.
Yes. Yes.
Every day. And it's, even though I know it is going to be a good life still, it's knowing how long this initial awful part will go on for. Like, it's not like a tough week. Like, it's going to be tough years.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, and I said this when my anticipatory grief, I remember like saying to clients when I have like a particularly bad day, and then this is before Mum's in hospital, so this is before it's like imminent. And I was like, I feel like I'm on a roller coaster. And you know that bit where you're teetering and you're waiting for the drop? That's where I felt like I was. And I was like, I feel exhausted because it's been years of knowing it's coming at some point, years of thinking about it, which is probably why I've gotten so good at compartmentalizing, because it's like, you have no choice. Like, you have to learn to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I was like, when someone is terminal, it's such a sense of hopelessness. Like her other two cancers, obviously you always know there's a chance that treatment may not work, but it's not terminal. And so you're very positive in that sense, right? And knowing it was terminal, and I'm like, it's only going to get worse. She's only going to get sicker.
Yeah.
There's going to be a point which what we came to, we're going to be in hospital, hospice. That's going to be agonizing.
Yeah.
Then she's going to die. And then I didn't dwell too long, but I'm like, I can only imagine what that week, month, 3 months looks like after when she's dead. So I kind of was like, cool, then I'm going to be really fucked for a few months. And then I even said, then I'm going to come out, which is where I feel like I am now. It's 5 months tomorrow. Come out of it a little bit enough. I'm out of the brain fog. I'm still miserable, but I'm better than I was. So I'm like, it'll get a little bit better. But then I'm going to come around to all these years of firsts, and it's going to be my first birthday without her.
Yeah.
I've already had fucking Christmas and her birthday.
You got that done really quickly, which was not good. But, you know, the first ones are done. While you were right in the, like, you almost don't have a brain during that time period.
No.
You are just...
brain fog.
You are like a physical being, but I feel like there was no... I just cut myself off from... Yeah.
Yep. I think having Christmas and her birthday, I was still very much in shock.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think there's like a protective element to that.
Yeah.
So that's been and gone. But I'm kind of like, as I would get a bit better, it'd be all these firsts.
Yeah.
And so I was sort of like sitting here a year before she died, just being like, there is a very long road ahead of me. And there's the anticipatory grief is fucked. And there's days, and I hope I word this correctly, especially considering your situation, I would think about people that would lose people suddenly. And I'm like, when I say you, I don't mean necessarily you, but people that lose people suddenly, they have all of like this end of it. But I've also got this
it was drawn
part
out
of it
for so long for you.
But on the flip side, I got time to do things.
Yeah. I think that there are
pros and cons to all of it.
Pros and cons.
Yeah.
Like, going back to my dad, I mean, again, I was a child, so it's a bit different, but it just was like, it almost felt like I had a limb suddenly amputated. There was no time to dwell or anticipate that happening. I just suddenly was in I just had to deal with it.
I can't imagine the shock.
Yeah, it was straight up like, again, like world shattering, but there was sort of like, I can't imagine having known but that was going to happen. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's different. I remember at that age, even maybe like 9, 10, being like grateful that I didn't know beforehand. Because I've always had this sort of like, since he died, I now kind of like look at people and I'm like, when are you going to die? Because it happened so suddenly.
Yeah.
And I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like aware of it. It's almost, I don't know, it's just left me with this really, both ways leave you really fucked up.
I know what you mean. This is very unhealthy of me.
That's okay.
But again, this isn't meant to be.
You're allowed to have some unhealthy thoughts, you know?
I know.
Not everything is positive,
No.
and you are a multifaceted human being.
100%. I'm like, not torn, but it's like, you want to be a good role model for grief, but also I want to be a real, honest person about it, because that's what this whole thing has been based off.
You're just a person going through it
Well,
at the
literally,
same time.
100%. It's very unhealthy to say, but let's say something happened to Jesse tomorrow. I'm good, bro. I'm out of here. I'm done.
Oh, real.
Like, and I know that sounds like from the outside, like, oh, you can't base your happiness or being okay on like another human being. Like, fuck off. Like,
I'm cooked if that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm sure I have the strength. I could persevere. I'm sure in 10 years from now, I would have a best-selling book and it would be like, you know, like suffered the loss of her mother and her husband and this inspirational woman. I can't be fucked doing the 10 years to get there.
I don't know if it's worth it.
Because with the state of the government, honestly. No, I'm kidding. House prices. No.
There's a whole, I don't know.
The thing is, I'm only getting through my mum because I have Jesse. If I had my mum and I lost Jesse, losing both of them, and don't get me wrong, I have the best friends. This is really heavy, and I'm like, look, but I have the best friends, I have the best support network. But at the end of the day, like, I'm not my friend's responsibility. Like, I'm sure, like, Lee and Ash would move in with me for, you know, a month or two, and there'd be
Lee and Ash.
Oh, no, see ya. No, I'm kidding. No, but like, I'm sure that, you know, I would be surrounded for months. But as I've realized with mum, it's those 3-4 months in where, apart from your real A team, people kind of forget because it isn't the biggest thing happening in their world, right? And I'm just like, what's Lee and Ash going to do? Live with me forever? Be my boyfriend? Like, to be honest, Lee probably would. But, you know, I'm just.
It leaves you with this sense of fear that of your world being shaken again, because if it's happened
I can't take any more.
It can happen again, and it happened to me again and again and again.
Bitch, you're so strong.
I remember being like, literally, you know, 10, 11, and people being like, you should write a book one day about your life. Like,
they had no idea what else was to come.
Oh my God. So much more. Right? Yeah. And then my cancer, you know, like this.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I should bring that up.
I mean, look,
so you got cancer?
Just add it to the list. Yeah, I got cancer. Clearly, there's some.
Why am I laughing? It's not funny.
No, it's not. But
no, it's just our sense of humor. But yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not relevant to death. I mean, it could have been, but it wasn't.
No, but it's still like when you've lost. I mean, obviously, you hadn't lost your set at that point. Because when was it, like 8?
Oh,
9.
Sorry, what was
when did you get your cancer?
My cancer was like 19, 20.
Yeah.
So I had endometrial cancer, actually the youngest case in Australia.
Oh my God, gold medal.
Right. There was a national conference held to discuss it because they were so like shocked. I mean, who knows? There was no reason that I had it, but my kind of like thoughts on it were, you know, drug user, parents, trauma. There's like a whole list of things that could have gone into that.
Could be a lot.
So I had surgery, and that put me into remission. I've been in remission for like 10 years now, which we love to see it.
Did you have to do radio or chemo or?
No, the surgery got everything.
Yeah.
Thank God.
Like, you've been hit with the shit stick quite a few times, girl.
Oh my God. But yeah, like, that's what I mean is like, now the way I live my life is I'm like, something bad could actually happen at any point. And I have no reason not to think that. But I still refuse to not live life enjoying it, because I'm like, well, it could be taken away. So I'm like, I'm going to soak up what good there is.
100%.
Because why not? You know, why not?
Yep.
I'm like, I will enjoy every fucking sunset and walk with the dog and,
Yep.
you know, movie with my partner and spend
Yep.
time with my family, because nothing is guaranteed.
And I don't really do anything I don't want to fucking do.
Yeah.
Like, literally, life is too short. And I don't let other people be assholes. I acknowledge they're assholes. And like I said, it shows me where they should be in my life, but I don't take it on.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, me pre-mum being sick, it would have been like the drama I have going on right now would have been a much bigger thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that perspective and the way that you view life and live life is amazing. I wish we were ignorant, didn't have to be this way.
I would love to just have no idea about any of it.
Yep.
You know, like, I've got people in my life who have never lost anyone, and I'm like, that sounds so nice. Like, love that for you.
Enjoy it.
But also, when it happens, you're going to be fucked. Sorry.
It's like,
no, I'm not like taking joy in that. I just
no. I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
This is very like weird to say, but you know when you got a blocked nose and you wish you had appreciated when you didn't. I actually have moments now where I'm just like I'll literally just like, I acknowledge, I'm like, okay. And I think that I'm like, God, I wish I had appreciated what life, because I could have never imagined this side of life.
Yeah.
I wish I'd appreciated it.
Yeah.
It's like when you're an adult and you go, oh, I wish I appreciated being in school, you know, 9 till 3, 8 weeks, a whole, like.
People doing your washing for you. You know, Friday night's free to play The Sims. And
side note, we're packing for Europe.
Yeah.
And my mum used to pack us my suitcases. And I've been like doing her like no crease methods, and my mum would wash my delicates. And when I say delicates, I just mean like lace stuff and like expensive stuff. It's me now.
Yeah, it's all on you.
Yeah, so on all of just his whites that he gets so like oily with his body moisturizer and whatever, she got them so white. So I'm like, I'm doing it all. I've done a whole load of his whites. I'm really lucky. His shorts had pink on them. And I was like, where the fuck? Like, because I soaked all of this. It was only whites. He had a hot pink napkin in the pocket of his fucking white linen shorts. I'm lucky. It could have been like that Homer Simpson's episode where he goes to work in all the pink shirts because everything's turned pink. I'm so lucky and grateful that only the shorts had this like pink splodge. But I'm like, all of his top tier, beautiful white clothes were in that one wash. I don't know how the rest of them came out.
Oh my God.
Fine. But I was just like, Mom, like, how do I get this out now? Like, what do I do?
I'm not ready to be the one answering these questions.
No. Like, and that's what I've also found with my mom is like, it's all on me now.
Yeah.
I used to always say, if you're in a workplace, be second in charge. Don't be the store manager. Don't be whatever. Always have that one person to handball things to deflect to.
Between you and responsibility.
There's no joy in being the head.
No.
And now I'm just kind of like.
I think that's interesting, because I feel like having experienced all this very young, I naturally do take on those leadership roles in what I do, because I'm very used to having to just handle it.
Hyper independence.
Yeah, 100%. It's just been like one of my coping mechanisms is, if I look after it and I leave no room for anyone else to do anything, it'll be okay.
Trauma.
Yeah. And one of the things that I have to learn is how to let go a little bit, and how to not just delegate, but allow for some mess and some chaos, because I just have, especially since Aaron died, I feel like I was getting a bit better, and then he died, and it's since then I'm like, everything has to be like this and like this, because if anything moves a little bit, then someone's going to die.
Yeah.
That's like probably what's in my brain.
Yeah, it's literally a trauma control. And I do things that I acknowledge is because of what's happened to me. And it's like finding that balance of like, that's okay. We are literally doing the best that we can and with the tools that we have. And it's like trying to have that balance of like, yeah, lean into it a bit. It literally is a coping mechanism, but not too much. And it's, I'm tired.
It's just too much.
And it's having to overthink everything all the time.
Yeah. And that's where that support system comes in, that understands where you're at and
Yeah.
doesn't expect too much of you. You know, it's yeah.
And I've always had like a bit of a perfectionism thing.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, having to acknowledge I'm not going to say not my best self. I'm not my on top of everything self. I've always been hyper control
Yeah.
with everything. And even my clients, like I've got an online booking system, but you can also text and book in manually and whatever. But I literally say I'm like, book online because I'm probably not going to see my phone for 3 days.
Yeah.
Like I've stopped trying to overpromise and underdeliver.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, just I'm literally like, I own it. I'm like, use the system because my brain, I'll either reply straight away or it's a week later.
Yeah.
And it's just,
You can
taking
only
that.
hold so much in. Everything has to be, like if you've got, I feel like that's important. It's like setting up systems that work for you.
Yeah. And
And
taking the pressure off yourself.
yeah. And like when we were running Cherry Darlings, I would get so not upset, like just it would stress me out if, I was like, this is a system that you order a cake and someone would deviate from that. I was like, I cannot, even though it's right in front of me, I cannot process this if it's not where I need it to be, because that is compartmentalized into that. And this is my space that I need to like use for other brain things. It's like there's like file systems in my brain.
No, I can completely understand.
Yeah.
I have that visualized.
Yeah. It just helps to, I think, you can kind of like, because you can't be constantly doing everything. So you have to, and after when you're going through grief, like there's so much to be processed all the time. I feel like you have to have ways of, I mean, whether it's healthy or not, I don't know, but you have to have ways of dealing with it and still getting through your day-to-day life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. And like I will be doing episodes on this as well. But like even when it comes to kids, because we are undecided, and this is so dark, and it's just reflective of where my brain is more so last month than I am now. But I'm like, if I have kids and something happens to Jessie, I can't die.
Yeah, it gives you another anchor. It gives you another set of
responsibility and
responsibility.
Yeah. Because and that's not the only reason I'm worried about it. I'm already like,
there's a lot of reasons to be yes or no.
There's like 7 episodes to do on this, but I'm like, I don't know if I don't want kids for the right reasons. If mum was here, she would have been the best grandma. Like she would have moved in, done the nights. All she wanted was, which is breaks my heart, is to be a grandma. Oh, and when we packed up her house, she'd made me the baby box for when I had kids. And do you know what kills me? Can you imagine my mum with her terminal diagnosis going to the shops and buying things for grandkids? Like
she was probably having her own, like emotional breakdowns about it.
And that breaks my heart. She wrote them a letter. And it's all toys and books from like her hometown. I know. Oh. And so I'm like, I can't picture my little mom at the shops physically putting that box together for me. And I'm just like, I also can't imagine doing it without her.
Yeah.
I know.
Because it would actually introduce a new set of ways that you'd miss her.
Yeah. And it's not that I couldn't like physically like raise them without her. Like I know I'm strong and I can do it. I don't want to. I look at like the mom and the daughter and the grandkids. I'm like, I'm not gonna get that. Like that would be such an element of it that I would want.
Yeah.
And if I have kids, it's gonna be without that element.
Yeah.
And I just so that makes me not want them, but then I'm not gonna do a disservice to me if that's the only reason. But I can't fucking figure it out. And I know there's no rush and I'm still grieving really intensely, but I'm just like, that weighs on my mind a lot.
As it would, yeah, for sure.
But that's why I'm also just like, while I'm in the space of being like, yeah, if I didn't have Jesse, I honestly couldn't be bothered with all of this.
Yeah.
But then like, what if I had kids and then something happens to him and then I can't go? And it's like, I'm not in a good spot. But it's just, there's so many elements with kids. I'm like, and And people say, you know, you'll see your mum in your child and that will be beautiful. And
But that it's also like, you know, I think that it's a very personal decision. I think there's lots of things to be considered, but, you know, it is another way that might break your heart regularly.
yeah,
And yeah, I mean, you would get to tell them all about her, which is really beautiful.
yeah,
But then you would also see those moments that she should have been there for.
yeah,
I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I think
I
that
know.
there's just what you guys decide is how you want to approach it.
100%. And right now we've left it as like, if we wake up one day, because I'm 34 this year, which is another stressful thing. It's like ticking time bomb ovaries.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, if we wake up one day and we're like, yep, we want it, we'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just, it's hard. I mean, as you know, it's hard. It's just there.
Mm-hmm. How early would you start them on the Lash Daddy serum?
I wonder what safe it is age-wise. I'm going to ask my supplier. I always think it's going to be weird that they're going to come out if we have them with no tattoos. Because I have 100. Jesse's completely covered. Like, weird, ew, little clean skin. Yeah.
Oh my God, I think like 2 or 3 they can start getting tattoos, right?
Surely. What a little loser, like not a tattoo. Ew.
Oh my God. Ugh. Normie.
Grow up. Seriously. But and then another trauma is like, let's say we have kids. What if I get sick? I mean, I will die at some point, but I'm like,
It's a lot to be grasping onto hypothetically. It's exhausting to think.
what did you call existential? What's that word you said?
Existential crisis?
Yeah, I'm having a crisis.
Because now I feel like going through a death close to you, it opens up all these horrible possibilities that you didn't know were possibilities.
Yeah.
And now it's like anything could happen, because how could that thing that shattered my world happen?
What if I had a child that dies?
Yeah. Like my sister had cancer when she was 5. She died of leukemia. Like, and that shouldn't happen, you know, that shouldn't, like, and it very early on made me go, how can I believe in a God? How can I believe in anything that is meant to be, you know, this like divine light? Or, you know, because I went to Christian, like Catholic school, and that's like, you know, a whole other discussion. But I just was like, how could that happen to a little girl? You know, like, how does that, how are there babies out there with illnesses? How are there children dying in other countries? It's just, it's a lot. It's a lot. Right? And then you're just like carrying all this weight of all of these thoughts and all of these possibilities all the time.
This is why we're tired.
Oh,
exhausted. I mean, look, you've had trauma from 3 years old. I just miss being unaware.
Yeah. I feel like you were very like light.
Yeah.
And free.
But I didn't know.
Yeah. And now here you are.
And then you're grieving that as well. You're grieving how easy and light, like all you had in your calendar was like things to look forward to.
Yeah.
Like you had birthdays, you had anniversaries, you had this, you had that.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, my last friend that was here, Brandon, like it was his twin brother that died. And they were best friends. So his birthday is his birthday.
Oh my God.
So I'm like,
oh, I actually didn't mention this, but Aaron's birthday is my birthday. We were both born on the 21st of February, and with the same initials. I was like, yeah, I know, right? So
for fuck's sake.
Clearly we were always meant to be.
I was going to say.
In each other. Like, he was meant to be my dad in this lifetime, however that happened. But yeah. You can't, and like, so Brandon would understand as more so, you know, being a twin their whole life, obviously.
Yeah.
But now my birthday is also this.
A reminder.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, cool. Great.
And I agree with what you said at the start. We got so much love. Wasn't for our whole life.
Yeah.
But some people never have that relationship with anyone. And then they don't know, so they're fine. I'm kidding. But it's like, you know, I want to be ignorant. I'm grateful to have had it.
Yeah.
While we had it. I wouldn't take it back. I wouldn't change it.
Because, yeah,
But fuck me.
in my mind, I get to go back to being 15 and being at home with Aaron, and we're all watching a movie, and I've always got that, and I've got that stability that I can like refer back to in that relationship, and I am grateful for it, but it made it worse to lose it. It's just this like it's like a, what do they call it, a seesaw of, you know, it's the better it was, the worse it's gonna be.
100%. It's when I'm in my really like deep crying moments, I'm just like, this is literally just a reflection of how close we were and how amazing our love and our bond was, and I wouldn't change it. So this is just the price that we have. And like my nana's still alive. We're not close. She's in England. And I'm just thinking like my mum hasn't had to lose her mum. So she just, it's weird for me to think I'm having an experience that my mum didn't experience. I don't know. I don't know why. It's just,
it is weird.
Because she guided me through everything. She'd been through everything I have been through with businesses and husbands and whatever. And I'm like, this is something she couldn't have known how I would feel, and she couldn't have helped me or prepare me for from her own experience. Like, it's just weird to think like, lucky you, mum, you haven't lost your mum. Do you know what I mean? But
I remember when Aaron, I think he was in hospital, and he FaceTimed me when he got some more news about what was happening, and he literally, like, his thoughts were not about him or what was going on with him, but it was like how I was feeling.
And that's being a parent.
And like how we were processing it. And like I remember him being like, I don't want you to have to go through this, especially after your dad and your cancer and everything. I was like, but you're losing your life. I was like, they just keep that like selflessness going into the very end of their lives.
Well, that's like my mom initially wanted VAD, voluntary assisted dying, because she didn't want me to watch her slowly waste away. So that was to protect me, not because it's what she wanted. It was to protect me. And so I'm like, that selflessness and that love. Oh my God.
And it truly does show that like a parent's love is just this endless source of strength and protection, and it's just so cruel to have to be utilizing that while going through something like this. And I think it's really fucked up that there's no answers to be had. There's
none.
There's just coping mechanisms and a South Ave seltzer for not sponsored. But, you know, coping mechanisms.
I just had a new fear unlocked right now in real time.
Oh, God.
If I get cancer and I have a child, I know what she's going to go through. My mom didn't.
Yeah, you've got that understanding and that knowing. It's too much. There's too many.
I'm tired.
Yeah, need a nap after this.
I just thought it. Like, I'll actually know what. So that's what I mean. I'm like, I can't sit here and be like, me and Jessie will have 2 healthy children and everything will be fine and we'll die before they do. And from old age, I'm like, you have no idea which way life's good. Like we just said.
It's not certain.
No, it could be the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
It's very heavy to carry.
And I think that there's something to be said as well about like, you know, people who have been through what we've been through or other things as well. It does change the way you have to approach life. Like I feel like I approach life now with this very like risk minimization mindset, which is exhausting. I'm like, okay, well, like the anxiety I have about doing anything.
I laugh because I do that as well, or I'm the complete opposite where I'm like, if I die, I die. And then I'll go and spend money or party 100%. Or do something where I'm like, whatever, I'm not scared.
Yeah.
Take me. But then there's other days where I'm not like that. And I'm like, yep, being super careful, super controlling.
Yeah. Yeah, for real. It's given, I feel like I actually like potentially have an anxiety disorder now because it's like.
That would be fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Like driving the car, I'm like, well, this could happen and I could get into a horrible crash and this, or I'm at uni and something could just crash into the building, or like, it's like every bad possibility is an
Yeah.
option. And I didn't used to, like, I feel like before Aaron, it wasn't like that because, like, you know, again, my sister, I was really, really young. My dad, kind of a, you know, it was a huge major incident, but then there was a very long time before
Yeah.
anything else happened.
So you felt safe and
I
got comfortable with life.
I got lulled into a false sense of security for a little while. But then that happened and it was so just like, yeah, and now it's like, I don't know, I just feel like everything brings me anxiety
Yeah.
now. And it's a constant effort to work through how to deal with that.
Yes. So when I said earlier about like every day I have to remind myself it will get better. Life is worth living. In a year from now, you'll be glad you stuck it out. People don't understand the toll it takes to be positive and to have to talk yourself out of these situations, to acknowledge that you have like, yep, this could happen, blah, blah. But you know, it's a 24/7 white noise of exhaustion.
Yeah. It's a constant hyping myself up to leave the house, to achieve anything. You know, everything starts to feel a bit futile unless you really assign um value to what you're doing. And like I said, like I choose to see my life in a really
Yeah.
positive way most of the time because I'm like, I'm lucky to be experiencing this and whatever, but that comes with a very big cost to like how much work I have to do internally to get there.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Very
Yeah.
well put.
And it would be so nice if I could just take Valium every day and not do that. But I also don't want to live my life completely numbed out
Exactly.
because that feels pointless.
Yep. Just a treat every now and then.
Yeah, just every now and
Just a
then.
little sweet treat. Yeah, it's again, I wish I appreciated how thoughtless life used to be.
Yeah. I think like I said I did when I was little as well. I kind of like severed this relationship between my mind and my body. So, and I've noticed like I have a lot of like chronic pain and immune issues that have come up again, like directly related to trauma. And I saw a somatic therapist, and I think that you have done something similar with your acupuncturist.
Yeah.
And essentially, she told me I've just completely disconnected my body from my mind.
Yeah.
And I have so much trauma and pain collected in my body that is begging to be felt, but it's not safe for me to do so yet. And
Yeah.
like, how does one person begin to understand how to deal with all of that? You know, like,
Again, there's no guidebook.
and how do people who are less privileged than me without any money to access these kinds of therapies or, you know, modalities begin to deal with like how much is just like left unfelt?
Yeah.
It's just huge. It's just this huge overarching issue in our society where we're not dealing with any of it in a really healthy way, I think.
100%. You can see why people go down bad roads and avenues because like it's
Yeah. And I think that
fucking
about
hard.
my parents too. Like my mum had a really messed up upbringing. And I'm like, I can understand why you would turn to addiction. Like I've had to let go of resentment and of,
Yeah.
you know, like again, the feelings are confusing, but I can understand like feeling the
100%.
way I feel. I'm like, maybe it would be nice to numb out my feelings.
I've always thought too, let's say you do it a few times because you're in that space, it is addictive.
Yeah.
And I just think once you're in that cycle, you can become clean, but it's
Yeah.
really difficult.
And like after my my surgery, like my cancer surgery, I had a very long time of being, I would say, addicted to opioids, which
Yeah.
is like
The pain
the
relief.
pain
Yeah.
relief, which is kind of like, you know, it's sort of like heroin, but on a really small scale, and it numbed everything. And it was the only way that I could get through for a year or two because I was hurting so bad that I couldn't even begin to comprehend what had happened and what I had lost.
Yeah.
The time I lost, the ability to have kids,
Yeah.
you know, like so much happened in that time.
At such a young age as well.
Yeah. And I didn't really have a support network at that time, you know. Like I had family, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I had the best friends or And I'd been through a major breakup like a year or two before that, which really threw me. And I just was like, this is how I'm going to get through it. And I
Yeah.
can see how people who are
Yeah.
hurting and in pain turn to addiction.
Yeah.
And I just think that, yeah, like we've said this whole conversation, you know, support networks are so important, and people being there for the bad and the ugly is important, because otherwise people are going to turn to things that damage you long term.
100%. All right, one-way ticket to Switzerland.
Valid.
On that note, thank you for being my support network. I love you.
I love you.
Thank you for today. I appreciate you.